The direst possibility regarding 3I Atlas appears utterly mad at first glance, yet it gains traction upon reflection. Suppose it has no intention of departing. Suppose this apparent grazing path serves as a covert braking tactic pulled off via tech beyond our sensing capabilities. Picture a mind so superior that replicating the laws of celestial motion amounts to mere amusement. A society that launches spying devices masked as shooting stars, rocky fragments, or orbital junk. The blistering pace and bizarre makeup of 3 Atlas could signal not some extraterrestrial origin, but deliberate extraterrestrial design. Nearing its solar closest point, concealed mechanisms might activate, gearing up for the subsequent stage of the operation that dispatched it our way. This evening, we plunge into the realms of conjecture, where everyday rationales collapse and interstellar suspicion flourishes. The real puzzle concerns not 3 Atlas's exit, but our ability to spot its choice to linger. Section 1. Does 3 Atlas endanger us? Chile's Atlas Observatory spotted an astonishing anomaly on July 1, 2025. A faint glimmer following a parabolic course that pointed to just one conclusion. This intruder hailed from a wholly separate stellar realm, labeled 3 Atlas, once known as C2025 Nun. It stands as humankind's third verified extrasolar body, succeeding Oumuamua from 2017 and 2I Boris from 2019. Yet imagine if this latest arrival harbors consequences dwarfing those of its predecessors, consequences that redefine the essence of catastrophe. In contrast to local bodies locked in oval loops, 3I Atlas carves an open-ended route across the cosmos. Its path's deviation surpasses Fa de Juan, the Eero, confirming its freedom from our star's pull. Surging from the Lyra region at record velocities, it hits perihelion on October 29th, exceeding 130 mph, swift enough to span the U.S. in less than 3 minutes. Still, under these solid numeric assurances lurks a persistent doubt. What if the actual peril stems not from its destination, but from insights it could unveil about humanity? For all its fierce momentum, 3I Atlas endangers Earth not at all. Its nearest pass in mid-December stays roughly 8 astronomical units distant, around 270 million kilometers, almost double the minimal Earth-Mars gap. NASA stands firm on this. It's a standard icy body, no engineered vessel or danger. Yet, stepping past NASA's measured wording into imaginative territory, what doubts could this timeless drifter sow in our views on smarts, intent, and stellar chance? Since its unveiling, the Hubble Space Telescope has tracked the interloper, uncovering typical icy traits as sunlight vaporizes core frosts, forming a radiant envelope. On August 6th, the James Webb Space Telescope gathered light patterns, detecting elevated carbon dioxide levels, a composition hinting at birth circumstances foreign to our neighborhood. Still, this compositional quirk prompts a troubling inquiry. What if 3 Atlas's core value rests not in its nature, but in the unknowns it compels us to face? Observatories on the ground across the globe have rallied to the cause, with wave detectors picking up solely organic radio waves and quiet in spots where crafted broadcasts could lurk. This united push exemplifies peak contemporary stargazing, an international web verifying the thing's off-world roots and benign course. Yet what unfolds if we exceed the safe confines of benign and explore cases that test not bodily risk, but our core grasp of our cosmic role? Such finds imply the heavens brim with these rovers, remnants of world-building near far-off suns, hurled into emptiness by tidal upheavals and fated to drift across eons. Every interstellar wanderer imparts fresh insights into the vast cosmos outside our star's domain, even as not one poses any risk to our planet's well-being. Still, should our galaxy truly teem with such timeless envoys, what consequences arise if we push our thoughts past established scientific boundaries? The Guardian captured it well. 3 Atlas stands as an intriguing celestial oddity rather than a disaster, serving as a nudge that our existence unfolds in a cosmos infinitely more bizarre and intertwined than everyday routines imply. This timeless intruder grants a fleeting glimpse into the profound past of the galaxy, bearing enigmas from star clusters scarcely within our comprehension. Yet, suppose the deeper enigma lies not in the enigmas it bears, but in the revelations it could spark regarding the essence of spacefarers from afar, and the imaginative possibilities stretching past the grasp of observatories, shifting focus to pace, dimensions, and era. This understated force packs a punch. The figures by themselves boggle the mind. 3i Atlas hurtles along at more than 130 mph, about 150 times the pace of a bullet from a potent firearm. Its hyperbolic excess velocity of 61 km signifies the relentless momentum it holds, undeterred by the sun's pull and unaltered across endless epochs of galactic drift. Though pondering how such astonishing velocities could fuel imaginative visions well outside today's knowledge base, which prospects might surface to reshape notions of dire outcomes completely? Such swiftness overshadows earlier space rovers. Oumuamua clocked 26 kilometers while 2i Boris hit 32 km. 3 Atlas surges almost double that rate, pointing to either a brutal launch from its origin realm or boosts gained via countless gravitational brushes on its stellar journey. However, imagine if the escalating swiftness seen in these three spacefarers signals intent beyond mere chaotic clashes in the void, urging us into realms of conjecture where our tools fall short. Pinpointing dimensions remains tricky, thanks to the radiant haze veiling the core. Fresh calculations span from 0.03 to 5-6 km across, equivalent to 3 soccer pitches or a modest peak. The ambiguity arises from guesses on outer shine and haze generation rates. Leaner figures align better with standard comet traits, yet at 0.3 km it qualifies as a hefty presence. Suppose, though, that the very vagueness bedeviling our gauges hides potentials reaching well past simple-scale inquiries. Such dimensional haze sparks compelling probes into endurance. In what way might a fairly unassuming form withstand the fury of expulsion plus eons or vast stretches in the void between stars? Tinier forms risk more from gravitational tears and swift collisions with scattered space rubble. Nevertheless, picture if unraveling this endurance riddle unlocks imaginative tales of resilience, intent, and crafting that surpass ordinary origins. The most captivating aspect involves 3 Atlas, boasting vast age. Scrutiny points to roots in the galaxy's dense layer, a veteran star group from the Milky Way's turbulent youth. Should this hold true, the intruder might outdate our solar setup by billions of years, embedding in its core chronicles of cosmic growth from an era when the cosmos spanned under half its present span. Imagine, however, if this tale of deep roots lays groundwork for imaginative visions, questioning our grasp of duration, aim, and universal awareness at its core. The dense layer view stems from the form's path compared to the galaxy's whirl. Whereas typical nearby bodies align with the overall turn, 3 Atlas arrives via an odd trajectory, implying ties to a veteran, haphazardly aligned cluster-aged stars whose paths escape the smoothing of endless galactic shifts. Still, as we step past stellar readings into realms of fancy, what could this peculiar incoming path imply regarding deliberate direction, guidance, and objectives that surpass mere gravitational paths in space? Even with its immense velocity and enigmatic background, 3i Atlas presents no risk from a motion standpoint. Its hyperbolic path, the same one that identifies it as coming from beyond our solar system ensures it will pass harmlessly by. Traveling at such high speeds, it evades any pull into orbit around the Sun, with its nearest encounters to planets spanning full astronomical units rather than mere kilometers. Yet, as we gear up to probe the unknowns past proven science, suppose the gravest potential dangers stem not from any impact, but from the implications of this intruder's very existence? Chances for detailed viewing come with hurdles. Reaching peak visibility at about magnitude 11 demands powerful scopes, even in ideal skies. Right at its tightest solar pass, the body vanishes into the sun's blinding light precisely as its activity ramps up. A cosmic schedule that strikes one as oddly contrived. Still, imagine if this very barrier to sight unlocks realms of conjecture where unseen elements outweigh the quantifiable. What arises is an image of stellar resilience, timeless, swift, and transient. 3I Atlas captures the blend of stunning dynamics and ordinary hazards, underscoring how the cosmos functions on vast proportions that eclipse our routine lives, yet adheres to rules so exact they let us forecast this guest's position long beforehand. But should we venture to question what hides past these foreseen routes, what imagined dire possibilities surface that ignore path calculations entirely and focus wholly on disclosures from the stars? Part 3. Chemistry in the Quiet. Kato Overdrive. When Webb's infrared gaze examined 3I Atlas on August 6th, it uncovered something remarkable. A coma chiefly of carbon dioxide with a CO2 to water ratio of roughly 81. This went beyond unusual. It broke new ground in comet composition. But as we ready ourselves to step past molecular breakdown into realms of hypothesis, what if this chemical mark points to aims and beginnings that reach well outside ordinary creation methods? Standard comets stick to familiar patterns. Water ice prevails, turning to gas at low heats to form the usual vapor envelopes laced with particles. Carbon monoxide emerges soon after, then carbon dioxide and minor elements. These proportions reveal tales of birth environments and development over time. Yet 3I Atlas has upended this pattern, emitting CO2 as if churning it out like factory exhaust in the void. And what if this break from convention invites hypotheses that upend our views on organic versus crafted beginnings? The figures grow more compelling given the viewing range. 3I Atlas lay more than 3 astronomical units from the Sun, far past Mars, when Webb grabbed its profile. Most comets display scant vigor so far out, yet this entity generated a clear CO2-led coma stretching hundreds of thousands of kilometers from its core. But what if this baffling vigor at such remote reaches lays the groundwork for hypotheses on power supplies, inner workings, and goals that go beyond what nature alone could achieve? Various ideas seek to account for it. 3I Atlas could have originated close to its birth star's CO2 snowline, where carbon dioxide clumped first from the swirling disk of gas and dust. Or perhaps vast age and bombardment by cosmic rays altered its outer layers, forming bombarded shells that lock in water but let CO2 slip free. Another possibility features dust coverings built up across eons, serving as stellar barriers that block water while permitting the flightier CO2 to seep through. Yet, what if all these natural accounts, no matter how reasonable, overlook the most disturbing chance that the distinctive molecular profile points to an intentionally crafted design whose objectives remain beyond our current grasp? The Webb telescope's near-infrared instrument identifies atomic structures with remarkable accuracy. As solar radiation warms the surrounding haze, compounds release radiation at precise frequencies, disclosing their elemental makeup. The detected 8:1 proportion marks among the highest CO2 abundances noted in studies of comets. However, venturing past empirical spectral analysis into imaginative realms, could these atomic traces carry data surpassing mere elemental reactions, perhaps signals or clues to intentions that upend our views on extraterrestrial awareness? Such notions aren't wholly without parallel. Comet C2016 R2, Pan-STARRS, likewise showed irregular gas mixtures featuring odd levels of carbon monoxide and nitrogen. These compositional oddities imply either greater variety in comet origins than models predicted, or intense alterations after creation that reshape outer layers. Still, edging into outright conjecture, might these irregularities spanning various bodies signal a design, an imprint directing us to prospects outside the reassuring limits of ordinary origins? The significance of 3I Atlas rests in showcasing elemental traits from wholly alien star systems. Whereas Pan-STARRS arose in settings we can simulate, this interloper bears traces of reactions near other suns, conceivably from eons past, extraterrestrial rock formations arriving right at our threshold. Yet suppose this arrival feels more purposeful than chance would dictate. What imaginative possibilities arise if long-gone minds devised methods to embed knowledge within the very elements we scrutinize today? Continued monitoring aims to clarify if the CO2 prevalence reflects core makeup or just outer manifestations. With rising sun warmth, the elemental equilibrium could alter should frozen water hide under CO2-laden exteriors, possibly exposing inner structures via evolving heat depth. Nevertheless, imagine if the evolving molecular patterns during 3I Atlas's perihelion approach uncovered designs implying not haphazard warming but orchestrated triggering, unlocking conjectural ideas of inactive mechanisms stirring to life from stellar proximity. This tale of elemental sleuthing reaches further than 3I Atlas alone. Should wanderers from space often exhibit strange blends, world-building near distant suns yields broader ranges of frozen forms than our own setup holds. The CO-rich setting that molded 3I Atlas could mirror typical scenarios near specific sun kinds or growth phases. Yet poised at speculation's edge, suppose these strange blends indicate intent far deeper. Beacons, maybe, or imprints, guiding to a universe teeming with minds we barely sense via their atomic marks. In wider views, this odd elemental mix probes creation theories for worlds stretching past our sun's domain. Should ideas on frozen object genesis and growth hold true, they must explain the range seen in spacefarers from afar. 3I Atlas defies predictions, hinting at model flaws or merely immense variety in cosmic locales untouched by our probes. Still, straying past doctrinal bounds into sheer fancy, might the puzzle this arrival poses to our schemas suggest depths untold? Traces of mechanisms, aims, and minds functioning outside the physical rules humanity has charted for ages. Part 4, Worst Case Answered. Almost 200 words through this probe, the dreaded dire outcome turns out disarmingly ordinary. No blockbuster disaster looms, no world-shattering collision endangers our planet, no gravitational disruption propels our world toward catastrophe. The cool, exacting laws of heavenly motion offer a judgment that ought to let us rest easy. Yet, as we gear up to step outside the refuge of proven science, suppose the true dire possibilities lurk not within physics' domain, but in the conjectural gloom beyond our tool's grasp and our model's boldest steps. Those key figures merit restating. 3I Atlas draws no nearer than 18 astronomical units to our planet, providing a 270 million kilometer safety margin. This surpasses more than double the minimal Earth-Mars separation and amounts to over 50 times the lunar distance. Its closest solar approach happens near October 29th, at about 14 astronomical units from the Sun, situating it amid the paths of Earth and Mars. Near sufficient for intense solar warming and dramatic cometary coma formation, yet far from disrupting any planetary paths or showering fragments onto worlds. But imagine if separation loses meaning amid hypothetical cases tied to tech, minds, or intents that ignore the limits of mere nearness. These figures stem not from vague guesses, but from meticulous orbit computations that factor in dominant planetary pulls, relativity's impacts, and faint nudges from solar radiation. When stargazers assert that 3I Atlas presents zero risk, their assurance draws from ages of orbital science and years monitoring risky space rocks. Still, what if the math safeguarding our bodily security underpins imagined dire outcomes unrelated to impacts, centered instead on encounters, exchanges, and vast disclosures? The initially startling velocity exceeding 130 kilometers ultimately benefits us. Items on hyperbolic paths at those paces evade the Sun system's gravitational hold. 3I Atlas zips by too swiftly to hang around and stir issues, executing its stellar pass before vanishing into the void between stars. But suppose this rapidity, this resistance to entrapment, signals more than routine path dynamics. What if it suggests intentional crafting, exact scheduling, and aims stretching past what we can sense or grasp today? This underscores vital differences in conveying risks, which space organizations handle with precision. The term interstellar evokes deep unease disconnected from real peril. Our basic instincts toward nearing mysteries clash with the stark truths of geometry. The immensity of space and rules of orbits align to render such meetings intriguing over perilous. Yet, what if dwelling on bodily threats obscures subtler dangers? The imagined cases where the gravest outcome involves not 3I Atlas's potential harm to us, but its power to expose our flaws, our presumptions, and our spot in a cosmos wilder than our wildest fancies. NASA's messaging achieves ideal equilibrium, recognizing the event's scholarly value while stressing the lack of peril. Straightforward wording, free of specialist terms, details why this body stands out as extraordinary yet benign, sustaining curiosity and real breakthroughs without sparking needless worry. Earlier star-crossing guests offer further backdrop. Oumuamua offered no danger in 2017, odd traits aside, while 2I Borisov showed routine outgassing in its 2019 transit. 3I Atlas upholds this trend of captivating yet kinematically safe intruders. But poised on speculation's edge, what if this sequence of innocuous arrivals conceals something profound? Perhaps a stellar census or a slow unveiling that upends all our views on sentience, intent, and the company we keep among the stars. Our present grasp builds a solid base. We grasp its pace. Its path deviates sharply, featuring an odd makeup heavy in CO2. Indications point to immense antiquity and roots in a dense galactic disk. Observations from premier global observatories yield intricate insights into its elemental structure and dynamic properties. Such findings depict time-worn, swift, elementally atypical, yet inherently ordinary icy wanderers. Yet, hidden under these reassuring facts dwells profound mystery. Consider the imaginative possibilities that arise when we probe not merely the identity of 3 Atlas, but its potential role in a universe where sentience might manifest in utterly unforeseen ways. Key gaps persist. Accurate gauging of its core dimensions spans from hundreds of meters to several kilometers. Debates linger over whether surface layers or overall makeup account for the CO2 prevalence. Origins in birth stars elude us, as do exact reconstructions of gravitational interactions that molded its root. Vital to note, these uncertainties leave hazard evaluations untouched. Still, imagine if such enigmas spark far-flung hypotheses that stretch past the safe confines of routine origins. This approach highlights sound celestial hazard evaluation, separating curiosity from genuine perils. News reports have mostly captured this balanced perspective, highlighting both research merits and innocuous traits. Pictorial data aligns seamlessly. Hubble captures depict hallmark icy body traits. Spectral analyses from Webb uncover quirky yet earthly blends. Earthly scopes monitor steadily shifting outflows. Datasets show no engineered signals, heat patterns, or guided shifts. Yet, suppose this lack of blatant artifice opens portals to notions of intellect so refined and elusive that it evades our tools and perceptions entirely. All readings converge on uniform verdicts. 3 Atlas embodies its evident self, an organic ice body bearing traces from distant stellar realms, adhering strictly to cosmic principles. This alignment underscores one of stargazing's deepest revelations, while the direst physical peril to our planet, defined by tangible metrics, proves wholly refuted. Equations hold firm, sightings align, outcomes comfort. This stellar guest arrives benignly, by design or chance. But here we venture purposefully past the shelter of agreed science into unbridled conjecture, where grim prospects morph into fresh shapes, not bodily dangers, but provocations to our grasp of cosmic potentials, in a reality perhaps teeming with minds, intent, and designs beyond our boldest theories. Part 5. Alien Tech or Comet. We now cross intentionally from verified truths into imaginative terrain, where options proliferate like echoes in an endless gallery. View all that ensues as intellectual play, not factual verdict, a conceptual voyage distinct from confirmed knowledge. The proofs, as outlined, tilt decisively toward 3 Atlas as a standard icy interloper, but ponder the implications if those proofs proved partial or deceptive. The core stance endures. Agencies like NASA, the European Space Agency, and nearly all leading stellar bodies label 3I Atlas a routine cometary guest. This reflects no mere institutional inertia or cautious dogma. Rather, it matches the data most aptly. The entity exhibits typical icy dynamics, obeys expected path physics, and displays light signatures matching vaporizing frosts. Occam's razor that core tenet of logical inquiry resoundingly endorses the organic account. History often reveals that scientific breakthroughs stem from seemingly ordinary items, delivering shocks along the way. Those enigmatic radio pulses, detected initially as oddly precise blips, earned a temporary nickname of LGM, standing for Little Green Men, until experts pinpointed them as spinning neutron stars. For years, astronomers puzzled over quick radio flares until they emerged as markers of bizarre events in the universe. Might 3 Atlas serve as yet another instance where reality outstrips our first guesses about the cosmos? Ideas regarding its manufactured beginnings don't spring up out of nowhere. The Harvard-based astrophysicist Avi Loeb, known for his bold takes on Oumuamua, has started hinting at comparable notions for 3 Atlas across interviews and online writings. Lowe's stance, presented openly as personal view instead of proven truth, urges us to stay receptive to the chance that certain visitors from beyond our solar system could signal tech rather than mere cosmic debris. Such a viewpoint warrants thoughtful examination, not for its guaranteed accuracy, but for showing the right way to assess bold assertions. Which proofs would solidly back a man-made source? Which sightings would push us to drop the idea of a standard comet in exchange for wilder explanations? Such inquiries prove vital since they aid in separating sound doubt in science from knee-jerk rejection of offbeat concepts. Should 3 Atlas truly qualify as a crafted device, we'd anticipate clues setting it apart from everyday space rocks. Steady radio waves, say, could point to internal gadgets or signaling gear. Those waves must scream human-like design, steering clear of the scattered static every body in space gives off, and instead showing patterned broadcasts impossible from raw nature. Shifts in path-defying outgassing norms would mark another clear indicator. Everyday comets frequently veer a bit from strict gravity paths thanks to vaporizing fumes generating small pushes. Yet, should 3 Atlas alter speed in manners gas release can't justify, or if its speed-up fails to match sun warmth cycles that could hint at engineered drive mechanisms, tailored brightness shifts tracking how shine evolves might offer further hints. Standard comets usually glow more steadily nearing the sun, with fluctuations tied to spin rates, uneven surfaces, and gas bursts. A built item could show shine changes obeying odd logics, maybe from deliberate tilts or running mechanisms. Up to now, 3 Atlas shows 0 such crafted traces. Scanners tuned to radio waves from the body pick up just cosmic quietude and the usual glows from comet-like vapor. Its path sticks to orbital rules sans odd twists. Shine fluctuations match what experts see in fellow comets twisting and warming under sunlight. The heavy carbon dioxide makeup rendering 3 Atlas odd in makeup alone fails to imply crafted roots. Earlier discussions noted multiple earthly mechanisms yielding CO2-heavy builds. Bombardment-altering outer layers, buildup close to CO snowlines in young star systems, or growth of protective grit shells all might yield the spotted makeup traits. Leaping from odd chemistry straight to build artifact demands proof, ruling out every such natural route for the data. Here's precisely where insights from Oumuamua gain special weight. The arrival of that inaugural verified traveler from beyond our solar system ignited fervent debates regarding its potential as a constructed artifact, fueled in part by its peculiar cigar-shaped form and subtle non-gravitational nudge. Arrays of radio observatories scoured the skies for engineered transmissions, yet detected 0 such emissions. In-depth scrutiny of its trajectory indicated that vapor release from icy water reservoirs adequately justified the noted deviations from pure gravity. Phenomena that at first appeared utterly bizarre eventually yielded to straightforward earthly rationales. Such a framework offers a prudent strategy for assessing 3I Atlas. Embrace the allure of radical concepts, yet insist on ironclad substantiation. The essence of scientific inquiry thrives exactly through its impartial scrutiny of every proposition, be it mundane or audacious, against unyielding criteria of verification. Assertions of engineered provenance must satisfy these benchmarks, rather than merely exploiting voids in existing knowledge. Prudent reporting on such conjectural narratives demands explicit disclaimers and fitting framing. Should news sources explore the prospect of 3I Atlas as an artificial entity, they ought to foreground these musings as conjecture, not settled fact. This separation transcends scholarly nitpicking. It shapes public perception of the entity itself alongside the wider mechanics of empirical inquiry. Beyond idle diversion, such conjecture fulfills a valid role. Pondering engineered origins compels deeper reflection on delineating organic versus fabricated entities amid the void. It spurs the crafting of empirical probes capable of potentially debunking the inert icy body theory, while underscoring that cosmic realms might yet harbor enigmas defying our present grasp. Ongoing surveillance will persist in probing these hypothetical paths. Fresh spectral data near 3I Atlas's solar closest approach could uncover molecular traces resistant to conventional origins. Meticulous positional tracking might uncover path irregularities, hinting at deliberate guidance. Extended vigilance could expose conduct rhythms at odds with inert, icy wanderings. Nonetheless, the onus for validation lies squarely with advocates of constructed theories. The inert, icy body model benefits from alignment with proven physical laws, familiar icy dynamics, and traits seen in prior extrasolar intruders. Dislodging this prevailing view would necessitate proof that irrefutably undermines organic accounts and affirmatively bolsters fabricated options. The mental pursuit of such notions must not overshadow the stunning truth embodied by 3I Atlas. Viewed as a mere icy relic, this timeless rover bears tidings from uncharted stellar realms, ancient molecular reactions from epochs billions of years past, and the profound chronicle of our stellar vicinity. Such wonders suffice without invoking arcane origins. In pursuing this chain of conjecture, recall that astronomy's greatest revelations frequently emerge from meticulous study of seemingly commonplace sights. Pulsars, quasars, gamma-ray bursts, and gravitational waves, each debuted as enigmatic pulses that unveiled fresh cosmic principles. Irrespective of whether 3I Atlas resolves as a standard icy drifter or an outlier, it has already broadened our comprehension of interstar voids and the array of nomads traversing stellar expanses. Our ensuing foray into conjecture will delve into bolder visions, not for their plausibility, but to highlight the inquiries sparked by confronting the wholly novel in our universal odyssey. These conceptual probes will stretch the edges of conceivable frontiers while maintaining sharp boundaries between conjecture and verified reality, between our flights of fancy and solid knowledge. Section 6, the most dire hypothetical outlook, an activation of the dark forest. We now plunge into the most profound domain of conjecture, where the gloom of interstellar prospects extends to visions that could radically reshape our perception of humanity's cosmic role. What comes next is entirely a conceptual exercise, an intellectual exploration of ramifications and potentials unsupported by present data, yet highlighting the weighty inquiries that might arise should our views on 3I Atlas fall short. The dark forest theory arises from both speculative fiction and rigorous SETI discussions. Borrowing its title from Liu Cixin's celebrated book, yet embodying a legitimate philosophical stance on interstellar societies. The concept posits that sophisticated societies could intentionally conceal themselves from others, guided by the belief that disclosing their presence and strengths might provoke attacks from superior rivals. In this cosmic setup, quietude serves as a defensive tactic, and any society that signals its location courts destruction from dangers beyond its detection or grasp. If we permit ourselves to envision, and we emphasize this remains wholly imaginative, that 3I Atlas constitutes not a typical comet, but a type of scouting device, the consequences would be breathtaking. Such a situation would imply that our star system undergoes scrutiny by minds able to craft artifacts enduring multi-billion-year voyages across the void, all while blending seamlessly with ordinary celestial bodies. The flawlessness of its camouflage alone would signal a degree of engineering prowess that eclipses our own technological reach. Reflect on the technical demands this vision would impose. An artifact crafted to impersonate a comet must replicate all facets of authentic cometary dynamics. Precise spectral profiles, fitting vapor release sequences that react authentically to stellar warmth, exterior traits that scatter illumination akin to pristine frosts in stone. It must transport ample volatile substances to sustain the illusion across its traversal of our star system, even as it accommodates any detectors, mechanisms, and signaling apparatus warranting such an intricate endeavor. The energy needs would prove immense on their own. Sustaining operational components over vast interstellar spans and eons-long durations would require power origins surpassing our existing methods. Conceivably, a radioisotope thermoelectric generator might furnish energy for thousands of years. Alternatively, cutting-edge fusion units could function on scant cosmic hydrogen. The device could potentially draw vitality from galactic radiation or electromagnetic engagements en route through the cosmos. Yet let us escalate this conjectural tale to its climactic peak. Suppose that our ongoing scrutiny of 3I Atlas uncovers irregularities defying conventional explanations. Perhaps radio observatories pick up fleeting pattern signals as the entity navigates the system's fringes. Its path might exhibit subtle yet evident adjustments, hinting at deliberate control. Or its material outflows could exhibit configurations too intricate and methodical for mere haphazard evaporation. The pivotal instant in this imagined chronicle could occur as 3I Atlas initiates the release of auxiliary units, compact devices detaching from the primary structure and assuming stations across our star system. One could settle into a Venusian orbit, another encircle Mars, with further ones dispersed amid the asteroids or stationed at stable gravitational locales. Abruptly, our star system would accommodate an enigmatic monitoring array from an unidentified source and with indeterminate powers. What immediate query would surface? In what manner ought humankind react? Such a conjectural situation would promptly escalate into the most formidable geopolitical and tactical dilemma ever encountered by our kind. In contrast to the slow-building encounters with extraterrestrials, commonly portrayed in speculative literature, uncovering a functioning oversight grid would thrust upon us the stark truth of an advanced intellect already functioning right in our local stellar vicinity. Governance dilemmas would emerge as wholly novel and pressing. Which entity holds the right to represent our planet? Perhaps the international body, key orbital programs, sovereign states boasting cutting-edge aerospace prowess, or the researchers who unearthed it. The sheer intricacy of forging worldwide agreement on an event of such gravity defies comprehension, especially considering our history of unity on far less daunting issues. Discussions around proactive extraterrestrial outreach would abruptly pivot from abstract deliberation to urgent real-world imperative. Experts in the search for cosmic life have for decades weighed the merits of broadcasting our existence outward against simply tuning in for echoes from distant societies. Certain voices warn that broadcasting ourselves might draw perilous scrutiny from belligerent extraterrestrials. Counter-arguments hold that passive quietude, even amid ever-refined sky scans, offers scant safeguard. A society advanced enough for star-spanning journeys would almost certainly pick up on our tech footprints, irrespective of whether we broadcast or not. Yet within this imagined framework, that decision could slip beyond our control. Should 3I Atlas alongside its imagined auxiliary scouts be diligently examining earthly society, then our very reactions would feed into the observations being gathered. Withholding response could be seen as prudence or timidity. Efforts to reach out might imply belligerence or inquisitiveness. Indeed, our own deliberations on handling the matter would expose core traits of human character and societal frameworks to any overseeing mind. Managing outreach during such a calamity would prove staggeringly complex. In what way does one alert worldwide populations to extraterrestrial monitoring setups devoid of sparking widespread hysteria? How does one uphold empirical rigor when confronting prospects that surpass present comprehension? How separates one confirmed sightings from conjectural readings amid risks that could shape civilization's destiny? Events would probably progress via gatherings of specialists, urgent assemblies of research bodies, and precisely worded announcements to the masses. Authorities would have to weigh openness against order, dispensing sufficient details to uphold trust, yet steering clear of the societal upheaval stemming from validating our initial brush with alien awareness. The spread of false narratives would loom as a vital threat. Even a hint of otherworldly watchers would ignite myriad wild theories, allegations of staged deceptions, and assertions of official concealment. Separating sound empirical findings from groundless fancies would prove essential to sustaining logical societal dialogue on humanity's pivotal breakthrough. Technological ramifications would carry equal depth. Should 3 Atlas display feats beyond known physical laws, it could yield breakthroughs in drive mechanisms, power creation, substance engineering, or signaling techniques poised to transform earthly advancements. Such a knowledge surge might propel progress forward by ages, provided the minds directing the device permit our ongoing survival and evolution. Yet the most disquieting element in this imagined outline might lie in its chronological dimensions. If 3 Atlas had journeyed across eons numbering in the billions, it might represent artifacts from a society that attained travel between stars during an era when our galaxy bore little resemblance to its present form. The minds responsible for dispatching it could have vanished entirely, bequeathing just self-operating mechanisms to fulfill tasks conceived by creators who perished eons prior to humanity's emergence. Such notions evoke a haunting scenario wherein we encounter not deliberate extraterrestrial meddling, but echoes of a long-extinct society, self-sustaining apparatuses adhering to preset instructions over vast epochs, possibly detached from any extant consciousness, yet persisting in their foundational protocols with unerring automation. Naturally, and this point merits ongoing emphasis, such conjectural tales find no backing in the extant data on 3I Atlas. All readings, spectral analyses, and visuals align steadfastly with the notion of a commonplace comet. The entity acts precisely in line with astrophysical models for a visitor from beyond our system. Its molecular traces, though atypical, align with conceivable organic origins. Its path obeys gravitational principles, sans need for unconventional theories. The merit of such imaginative forays rests not in their likelihood, but in demonstrating how swiftly our view of the cosmos might shift should our premises falter. It serves as a prompt that the cosmos has upended expectations in the past, and doubtless will do so anew. Moreover, it underscores the need to balance rigorous doubt toward bold assertions with receptivity to concepts surpassing our present grasp. Yet, as we venture further into realms of conjecture, bear in mind that we traverse domains of potential rather than domains of verified truth. The authentic 3I Atlas endures as an intriguing cosmic oddity, aged, swift, compositionally peculiar, yet essentially interpretable through our established paradigms of science. If that comprehension holds firm, stays an unresolved inquiry, though forthcoming scrutiny will resolve it with the stark precision afforded solely by empirical proof. Part 8. Great Filter Alarms. The idea of the Great Filter arises from a central enigma confronting advanced societies. Given the cosmos ought to abound with sentient beings, why detect no signs of them? This intellectual conundrum, first voiced by physicist Enrico Fermi in the 1950s, has fueled generations of debate on obstacles that could thwart life's emergence, advancement, or endurance sufficient to colonize the stars. In pondering 3I Atlas within this hypothetical lens, we face the chance that this timeless rover bears tidings from minds that grappled with their own lethal hurdles. The Great Filter theory posits that amid the extended sequence of biological progression, from basic compounds to interstellar explorers, lies a phase so unlikely, arduous, or perilous that nearly every endeavor to surmount it ends in collapse. This barrier might arise at the outset, during the shift from inert substances to replicating entities. Alternatively, it could surface subsequently, as societies invent tools potent enough to self-annihilate before mastering their prudent application. Should we entertain the prospect that 3i Atlas embodies crafted ingenuity over mere happenstance, we promptly grapple with the destiny of its architects. The item's evident antiquity, spanning perhaps billions of years, roots its genesis in the galaxy's remote annals, amid stellar clusters, elemental distributions, and universal states far removed from today's. Should this venerable intruder truly stem from design, did its progenitors persist adequately to witness its arrival in our solar? The immense durations at play defy easy grasp. From humanity's earliest farming communities right up to today's era of space exploration, our societal arc stretches across about 10,000 years. The span of documented events might encompass around 5,000 years. Modern tech-driven society has only endured for a handful of centuries. In contrast, 3 Atlas, assuming it's constructed by design, embodies a level of tech that's been active for countless multiples beyond the full sweep of our species' development. Such a disparity prompts deep inquiries into the endurance of machines compared to the fragility of life forms. One of the eeriest scenarios involves stumbling upon scouts that linger on well past the extinction of their originators. Like interstellar flasks adrift in the void, these hold data from societies that mastered the feats of cross-star dialogue, only to fall prey to alternative barriers in the grand sifter. Ponder the feats of design needed to sustain devices over those vast epochs. Among our toughest-made relics, think Egyptian pyramids, enduring rock structures, or select decaying nuclear elements. Lifespans reach from millennia to eons. Yet, keeping intricate circuits, drive units, and simulated minds humming through billions of years calls for design tenets far beyond our wildest notions. This setup would necessitate alloys tougher than any gemstone, power sources outlasting the glow of typical suns, and code frameworks able to evolve and mend themselves over eras akin to Earth's own upheavals. Achieving that level of craft would, in a twist, imply its builders wielded unmatched ingenuity and tech. A society fit to dispatch voyages enduring billions of years amid the stars must have cracked a host of hurdles we scarcely approach. Mastery over substances down to their core particles, harnessing and holding power on universal magnitudes, and handling data through profound ages, these skills could shield against a range of looming sifter threats. Still, should 3 Atlas truly stem from them and stand as the sole trace we detect of their presence, which sifter force could have felled them amid such might? The notions chill upon reflection. They could have bowed to a cosmos-wide drain of resources, growing so voraciously as to exhaust the fuels and stuffs vital to their endurance. Or perhaps clashes arose with rival minds bent on harm, sparking wars that wiped out victor and vanquished alike. Even more disquieting, inner rifts baked into highly evolved tech societies might have undone them. The very prowess that birthed their star-spanning envoys could have unleashed weapons, ecological ruin, or societal breakdowns too wild to rein in. The annals brim with cases of cultures racing ahead in inventions while lagging in prudent application. We humans grapple with a few of those perils right now. On another note, the sifter needn't spell outright doom, but could signal a leap in evolution. Highly evolved groups might routinely reshape themselves into forms alien or hidden from upstarts such as us. Consciousness could shift to vast quantum networks, blend so thoroughly with machines that the line between thinker and tool dissolves, or rise to realms beyond our senses' reach. Grasping these vistas from a stellar viewpoint can spin the mind into dizziness. Our Milky Way hosts some 400 billion suns, a good many kindled eons prior to our own star's birth. Should just a minuscule portion of the myriad star systems in our galaxy have given rise to advanced technological societies, one would expect the entire Milky Way to have undergone repeated waves of thorough exploration and settlement. This glaring lack of evident extraterrestrial activity, termed by stargazers the Great Silence, calls for some form of accounting. The hesitancy sparked by such puzzles shapes today's SETI approaches. Rather than broadcasting signals outward, the bulk of efforts center on quietly detecting incoming ones, based on the cautious view that announcing ourselves without grasping the broader cosmic landscape could prove rash or hazardous. Spotting signs of artificiality in 3 Atlas would swiftly elevate these deliberate hunts to pressing matters of strategy. The boundaries of observation that we've set during this probe gain heightened significance amid thoughts of great filter possibilities. Observations of 3 Atlas still back interpretations rooted in nature for its path, makeup, and motion. Ideas of an engineered source and societal collapse stay mere conjecture, lacking any backing from facts and held only for thoughtful rumination. Still, the inquiries sparked by these notions go beyond mere theory. They compel us to grapple with core dilemmas surrounding tech evolution, the endurance of societies, and the future outlook for our kind. Should sophisticated cultures habitually face obstacles blocking their persistence over eons, what insights could that offer for where humankind is headed now? The notion of the Great Filter acts as cautionary tale and motivator alike. It cautions that prowess in technology by itself offers no assurance of lasting, since progress introduces fresh perils alongside prospects. Yet it also urges deliberate reflection on steering our growth, harmonizing discovery with prudence, and crafting fixes that outlast the builders themselves. Within this imagined tale, 3 Atlas emerges as a relic from cosmic digs, tangible proof of intellects that mastered stunning feats of engineering only to succumb in the end to unknown pressures. The device presses on with its timeless voyage through the ages, bearing signals from thinkers who cracked the puzzles of star-spanning tech, yet couldn't conquer the profound hurdle of enduring existence. Such a setup would cast us humans as successors in the stars, unearthing gadgets from forerunners who ventured routes we're just starting to tread. The duty would weigh immense, drawing wisdom from their triumphs while steering clear of the great filter that doomed their world. At play would be no less than our race's final endurance and the chance to add substance to the universe's dialogue. These thoughts linger as musings of philosophy, not verdicts from science. Meanwhile, the actual 3 Atlas acts just like any ordinary comet ought, tracing paths shaped by gravitational pull and natural laws instead of purpose or design. If this view holds up in the long run stays uncertain, though data and sightings will settle it in time. Pushing further into realms of fancy sharpens the need to distinguish firmly between our fictions and solid knowledge. Reality's oddities, born purely from innate mechanisms, already suffice to astonish. Spanning quantum oddities to unseen energies to the vast filaments of the universe's grand architecture, tossing in crafted minds to this wild tapestry could well be superfluous for stirring the awe and broad view that fuels every quest in science. Part 9, Fermi Whisper. Where is everybody? That query resounds across each breakthrough in the skies, shadows every hunt for life beyond Earth, and shadows us in those instants when we gaze out into the void's abyss and we encounter nothing but quiet in our cosmic search. Enrico Fermi first raised this puzzle amid an informal midday chat back in 1950. Yet, its deeper ramifications have intensified alongside our broadening grasp of the cosmos. Given that our galaxy ought to brim with smart societies, given that the universe provides endless chances for life to emerge and develop, then why do we see no one around? This Fermi enigma gains fresh layers when examining wayfarers from outside our solar system, such as 3I Atlas. Every such intruder from afar serves as an organic test case for how substances spread across the Milky Way, offering a glimpse into the substances and mechanisms at play near distant suns. Theoretically, these roaming envoys could someday expose traces of tech-savvy societies' crafted substances, unnatural isotopic balances, organized forms hinting at deliberate creation. However, every verified interstellar traveler to date has seemed entirely ordinary. Such a lack could signal key insights into the essence of highly evolved cultures and how they engage with the voids between stars. Maybe the most progressed groups opt for what we'd term stealthy messengers. Should they dispatch scouts whatsoever, those devices get built to blend seamlessly with everyday cosmic events. Under those circumstances, the sheer ingenuity of extraterrestrial tech would make it undetectable by our present scanning techniques, tuned as they are to spot blatant signs of human-like interference. Still, That prompts urgent inquiries into the appearance of such indicators. Suppose 3I Atlas turned out to be a hidden scout. What clues from viewing it would eventually unmask its real character? The response circles back to the core divide, separating organic and man-made occurrences amid the stars. That divide might turn out far more nuanced and intricate than what we presently comprehend. Signals in tight radio bands would stand as the clearest mark of engineered activity. Cosmic natural events generate radio static over wide frequency bands, whereas deliberate broadcasts usually focus their power into slim spectral bands that pop sharply from the universal hum. Efforts to locate alien minds have zeroed in on just these kinds of emissions for years, based on the idea that any group able to chat across star systems would generate noticeable electromagnetic traces. To date, 3I Atlas has stayed utterly quiet on the radio front, releasing solely the expected ordinary electromagnetic traces from icy comet stuff vaporizing amid clashes with solar breezes and magnetic forces. Targeted SETI scans have detected 0 steady signals, 0 varied broadcasts, 0 crafted designs in its electromagnetic emissions. That quietude fits hand in glove with the idea of it being a plain comet, though it fails to completely dismiss cleverer ways of hiding tech. Odd heat patterns could offer yet another way to probe. Everyday space bodies reach heat balance with their surroundings via established rules of physics. They take in sunlight, re-emit warmth in the infrared range, and hold skin temperatures set by how far they are from the sun, what they're made of, and how they handle heat. Man-made items could show heat spreads that break these usual rules. Hidden warmth generators, uneven warming, or cooling setups implying deliberate oversight. Up-to-date infrared scans of 3I Atlas reveal heat marks matching the warming from sunlight on regular comet stuff. Its outer heat climbs as it nears the sun, obeying the inverse square rule that rules how solar power spreads. The way warmth scatters over its exterior looks haphazard, influenced by land shapes and makeup differences instead of planned heat controls. Controlled maneuvers could offer the clearest proof of an artificial source. In space, natural bodies trace paths shaped purely by gravity, along with sporadic pushes from venting substances. These extra-gravitational influences tend to be minor, erratic in their paths, and tightly linked to indicators of comet-like behavior, such as the glow of surrounding gas clouds and the volume of released vapors. On the other hand, engineered spacecraft could exhibit deliberate path adjustments, purposeful speed alterations, or route shifts aimed at fulfilling particular goals. Distinguishing such actions from the irregular tugs of uneven gas releases would demand caution, yet ongoing signs of directed movement would gradually emerge via accurate positional tracking. 3 Atlas exhibits none of these directed adjustments. Its path adheres to the even hyperbolic curve forecasted by gravity models, disturbed only slightly in ways that match the anticipated impacts of sunlight pressure and gas venting. Should it have engines, they are either dormant or so faint as to evade detection by today's instruments. The organic account for wanderers from other stars, like 3 Atlas, fits neatly with models of how solar systems develop. Simulations on computers indicate that every star cluster expels large amounts of stony and frozen fragments in its initial phases. As planetary pulls hurl minor objects toward open space, the cosmos ought to teem with these drifters, failed planets that started coalescing near distant suns, yet got hurled away before maturing into proper orbs. Viewed this way, the gradual influx of such cosmic travelers that we're now spotting matches precisely what celestial models foresee. Muamua, 2I Boris, and 3 Atlas mark the forefront of a far vaster group that upcoming scans will uncover. The Vera Rubin Observatory, set to launch operations in the coming years of this decade, ought to spot these interstellar bodies at a pace of a handful annually, shifting them from oddities to everyday sights in the sky. This numbers-based reasoning offers a potential answer to how the Fermi paradox applies to such spacefarers. Should ordinary tossed-out protoplanets vastly exceed any crafted devices, the crafted markers we're hunting could lurk amid a sea of organic rovers. Spotting extraterrestrial craft would mean picking out a handful of designed items amid thousands or millions of innate ones. an immense challenge like finding a single pin amid a vast stack of straw. The varied makeup uncovered in 3 Atlas layers onto this counts-based view. Its abundance in carbon dioxide broadens the spectrum of gas proportions seen in these far-flung objects, hinting that varied star settings yield distinct kinds of expelled stuff. As our collection expands, we might find that the odd chemical traces we first saw as strange, or possibly made by intent, truly reflect the wide-ranging chemistry of world-building across the stars. Biases in our searches muddle how we read the interstellar bodies found to date. Earthly scopes and orbital hunts favor items coming from select angles with given shine levels and onset path shapes. The trio of verified space intruders might not mirror the full crowd, much like the earliest alien worlds spotted mostly bloated gas giants hugging their suns closely, failed to capture the array of solar setups. 3 Atlas's arrival from the southern celestial regions caught certain stargazers off guard. Scientists had anticipated that visitors from beyond our solar system would primarily approach from the path aligned with the Milky Way's spin. Yet this peculiar path indicates that either our frameworks for mapping these cosmic drifters are still flawed, or that close brushes with gravity can randomize their paths, masking the true directions they once followed. Advanced tools in astronomy promise to sharpen our insights into such puzzles. The Rubin Observatory's enduring scan of the heavens and chronology stands to uncover hundreds of these extrasolar wanderers during its decade-long endeavor, yielding datasets robust enough to validate ideas on their birthplaces, makeup, and paths. Orbiting observatories tuned to infrared light will probe their heat signatures and molecular builds with remarkable accuracy never seen before. Such growing troves of information could either validate that these interlopers adhere to the expected spreads from planet-building models or uncover oddities calling for wilder interpretations. Should extraterrestrial artifacts lurk within the roving throng, expanded collections and superior gear will someday unmask their crafted essence via faint yet steady quirks diverging from organic norms. We must not downplay the deeper thought sparked by this ongoing quiet. Every extrasolar body we examine adds to the case that minds able to craft voyages across stars either never arose, evade our tools for now, or opt to stay hidden behind unassuming traces. With each verified organic arrival, the sense of solitude in the vastness builds steadily. Still, lacking proof does not prove lack. This holds especially true as our spotting tech stays constrained and our gatherings of cases remain modest. The cosmos might still harbor shocks that upend our views on sentience, inventions, and their marks amid the stars. 3 Atlas, be it a natural relic or a made thing, adds yet another clue to our species' persistent quest to grasp its role amid the stellar fellowship. While we delve deeper into wilder what-ifs, holding the line between sightings and fancies grows all the more vital. The actual universe, unveiled by steady watching and meticulous scrutiny, has shown itself bizarre and marvelous on its own, needing no fanciful extras. If that bizarre truth encompasses other minds, stays unresolved, though coming finds will settle it with the sharp truth evidence alone brings. Part 10. Cinematic Worst. Silent invasion via microseeds. Here we dive headlong into unbridled film-like conjecture, the line between credible sci-fi and tangible facts dissolving into tales that upend all our notions of existence, awareness, and the universe. The ideas ahead mark the farthest fringe of the feasible, notions so outlandish they demand setting aside several established laws of nature, yet clinging just tightly enough to established science to spark the mind's fire. Envision this setup. 3 Atlas serves not just as a scout or standard vessel, but as a carrier for a far sneakier and cleverer payload. Concealed in its frozen core, tiny machines or maybe crafted living forms, what we'll term microseeds, rest inactive, poised for awakening by precise surroundings cues. These might take shape as nanoscale inventions built to endure the brutal void between stars across eons, or perhaps they embody a kind of life spanning the galaxy, propagating across suns via this very ploy. This notion draws some roots from earnest scholarly musings. The Anspermia. This intriguing idea, though debated and lacking solid evidence, posits that biological existence could propagate across the cosmos on board icy wanderers such as comets and asteroids, along with various cosmic drifters. Certain scientists argue that resilient tiny life forms might endure the harsh emptiness, intense rays, and frigid voids of outer space across spans of millions to billions of years, planting the seeds of existence on promising planets upon arrival. Yet, our imagined tale ventures well past mere undirected seeding from afar. Such imagined tiny kernels would embody crafted mechanisms crafted to not just weather the voyage between stars, but to lie inactive pending precise awakening cues. They might react to the energy signals from advanced societies, stirring to life solely upon sensing broadcasts, chemical emissions from factories, or further signs of sentient activity. Alternatively, they could ignite in response to stellar light profiles, rousing as their carrier nears suns with distinct color emissions. The technical hurdles here would dwarf anything we grasp today. These minuscule gadgets must hold their form over eras spanning billions of years amid barrages of stellar particles, collisions with space grit, and wild swings in chill across the interstellar expanse. They demand energy supplies outlasting the glow of typical suns, data repositories impervious to erosion across eons rivaling Earth's epochs, plus fabrication tools able to launch intricate setups from basic elements on foreign planets. Still, should this tech ever emerge, its tactical fallout would chill the soul. One lone spacefarer resembling 3I Atlas might transport countless billions or trillions of these infinitesimal starters, everyone poised to claim territory on whatever globe it lands upon. The takeover, should we label it so, would whisper onward, endure with patience, and evade notice entirely until the stirring moment arrived. In our fanciful account, the rousing event could play out hundreds or thousands of years following 3 Atlases sweep past our star system. The tiny kernels might be built to spark at points when our tech hits defined marks, once we master journeys between stars, as our numbers climb to set figures, or amid emissions from our factories, altering the air in signature ways. Such postponement would fulfill varied tactical aims, granting space for thorough scouting of our society, guaranteeing the stir happens when people have advanced enough to meet the kernel's intended role, and preserving a veil of uncertainty linking the first drop-off to the later surge. Yet at this juncture, stark facts pierce our dreamy conjecture. The brutal rigors 3 Atlases faced on its star-spanning path would pose near impossible barriers to elaborate tech or living matter alike. Just the steady battering from cosmic rays would erode atomic bonds progressively over millions of years, to say nothing of the billion-year trek implied by the body's seeming antiquity. Even Earth's toughest ray-defying life would yield to exposure stretched so long. The eruptive frenzy rendering 3 Atlas a streaking comet would heap extra perils on any pint-sized stowaways. As fleeting frosts vaporize and billow out into the void, they drag debris grains and whatever minuscule embeds lurk in the core. The ferocity of this outburst, repeating with each stellar near-miss across the billion-year odyssey, would probably shatter fragile forms and fling any tiny parts over immense voids. The vast thinning effects at play likewise challenge the viability of this transport method. Even if 3 Atlas harbored billions of, in the case of minuscule seeds, most would get hurled out into the void amid explosive gas releases, vanishing into the emptiness, separating celestial bodies. Should a handful manage to drift near our globe, they'd encounter further scattering amid Earth's airy envelope and living realms, rendering it all but inconceivable for significant clusters to gather at any one spot. The minimal separation of IT1. 88 astronomical units offers yet another sobering assessment of this hypothetical notion. 3 Atlas will skim past our planet at about double the span from the Sun to the red world, ruling out any straightforward transfer of substances. Such tiny seeds would have to endure the eons-long trek through starlit voids, the brutal venting eruptions, plus the ensuing voyage spanning countless millions of kilometers through the gaps between planets to arrive here. Existing safeguards against planetary pollution, crafted by cosmic exploration bodies to shield both our home and distant orbs, outline potential reactions to imagined retrievals of debris from visitors resembling 3 Atlas. These measures encompass rigorous isolation steps, scrutiny within dedicated biosecure facilities, and meticulous scrutiny for signs of life or engineered artifacts. Yet these guidelines presume active retrieval expeditions rather than incidental scooping of infinitesimal particles flung over immense expanses. Spotting any such fanciful peril would pose monumental surveillance hurdles. In what manner does one hunt for tiny mechanisms or life forms engineered to lie inactive for ages? Which markers might they emit to set them apart from everyday space microbes, cosmic grit, or local pollutants? The endeavor would resemble probing for pins amid a stack vast as our whole stellar domain. Extended-range radar setups, those employed for monitoring orbital junk and risky space rocks, stand little chance of picking up items as diminutive as these seeds. Visual scans perform even more poorly against specks sized in micrometers as opposed to kilometers. Should such oversight prove feasible in theory, the demands on assets would overwhelm, requiring unending watch over every cubic expanse encircling our sphere. Here lies the core flaw in this imagined stealthy incursion tale. It defies basic tenets of practical design. A society advanced enough to craft delivery mechanisms spanning billions of years across the stars would likely command swifter, surer paths to fulfill any aims behind such an assault. The intricacies, risks, and prolonged waits tied to dispersing these specks render it a wildly impractical tactic next to options such as beamed power signals, standard starships, or basic signal broadcasts. Still, this setup fulfills a key role in our imaginative probe. It highlights the way our creative minds can outpace tangible limits amid encounters with the universe's enigmas. That very thrill of awe and stellar unease, fueling true research efforts, can likewise spawn apprehensions that stretch past credible bounds. Separating sound wariness from baseless conjecture grows essential in facing truly novel cosmic events. When our filmic handling of these ideas demands bold, upfront notices of their conjectural essence, audiences must grasp that we're traversing realms of fancy, not domains of proven truth. Such mental exercises hold worth in broadening our views on what could be, yet they ought not to pass for likely or even feasible truths. The opposing view stays direct and persuasive. The most basic account of 3I Atlas's actions holds that comet particles act just as comet particles do. The entity exhibits every trait anticipated in ordinary cometary substance, including suitable spectral indicators, expected heat responses, and emission sequences that align exactly with sunlight exposure. Its documented features demand no extra theories for interpretation. Approaching the conclusion of this imaginative exploration through ever more intense possibilities, we should consider the insights these mental exercises offer regarding people's mental makeup and our bond with the enigmas of the cosmos. The habit of devising outlandish accounts for odd occurrences shows our inventive spirit alongside our unease over fitting into a cosmos that frequently appears unconcerned with our presence. That actual 3 Atlas, the scrutinized, quantified, dissected body hurtling across our solar realm at astonishing velocity, stands as sufficiently awe-inspiring on its own, needing no fanciful embellishments to its tale. It serves as an old rover from a distant star grouping, bearing traces of foreign chemical milieus, granting a short glimpse into the profound past and immense breadth of our Milky Way. Such marvel suffices to spark awe and rigorous inquiry, sparing us the need to summon ideas of assaults or concealed devices. Yet, the act of delving into these notions fulfills a distinct role in our persistent effort to grasp our place amid the stars. Through extending conjecture to extremes, we gain deeper regard for the true puzzles encircling us, as well as the boundaries set by physical laws and factual data on sensible accounts. Natural mechanisms have already demonstrated the cosmos's inherent oddity. It may surpass what our minds can easily grasp, yet its peculiarities eventually submit to steady watching and meticulous scrutiny. Part 11. Should 3 Atlas prove an extraterrestrial guest, what would our reaction be? So far, the handling has highlighted the finest qualities of collective human scholarly effort, It resembles a precisely orchestrated ballet involving viewing instruments, organizations, and solo experts uniting to glean the utmost insights from a transient chance. Mere hours after the first spotting by the Atlas survey on July 1, 2025, an international array of viewing sites mobilized in unison, showcasing the way contemporary stargazing functions as a genuinely worldwide venture. The prompt handling adhered to guidelines honed across years of spotting space rocks and icy bodies. The Minor Planet Center at Harvard-Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory acted as the primary hub for positional sightings, gathering location data from sites across the globe and sharpening the body's path details with every fresh input. The European SpaceA's Space Situational Awareness Program contributed its monitoring tools, as NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office assessed risks of striking our planet. A review that swiftly dismissed any crash danger, though 3 Atlas's origin beyond our stars intensified the efforts past standard rock-following routines. The Hubble Space Telescope gained urgent special allocation, halting scheduled tasks to capture visuals of this singular arrival. The James Webb Space Telescope mirrored this, committing valuable slots to spectral probing of the body's distinctive carbon dioxide-led haze. Earthly viewing facilities, spanning Chile's Atacama Desert to Hawaii's Mauna Kea, supplied supporting data over the full light spectrum. This unified handling reveals the progress of the star-watching collective in managing swift-action cases. In contrast to astronomy's initial era, where finds could linger undisclosed in personal scholars' records for seasons or ages, today's detection programs instinctively distribute results via reliable channels. The International Astronomical Union's Central Bureau for Astronomical. Even though the term telegrams carries an old-fashioned ring, it delivers swift alerts about major breakthroughs to scientists across the globe. Details about 3 Atlas have circulated with exceptional openness. On NASA's main site, frequent reports detail viewing outcomes, blending in-depth specs with straightforward breakdowns for everyday readers. The European Space Agency has issued comparable dispatches, underscoring the joint effort in the monitoring effort. Well-known stargazing outlets such as Sky and Telescope have offered in-depth analyses paired with hands-on tips for hobbyist skywatchers eager to spot this cosmic wanderer via their personal scopes. Consider, however, if the hypothetical possibilities we explored before in this probe turned out to hold truth. Envision upcoming scans uncovering traces defying ordinary origins, like patterned radio signals, deliberate path corrections, or the release of auxiliary probes across our star system. In what ways could our organizations and methods expand to manage an event potentially ranking as humanity's greatest find ever? Current structures offer certain directions. The International Astronomical Union maintains rules for checking bold assertions, demanding separate validations from various sites prior to endorsing findings that upend core knowledge in the field. 8. The SETI Institute has crafted outreach strategies for possible initial encounters, covering rules on data exchange, announcements to the public, and global teamwork. Space organizations enforce safeguards against planetary pollution to shield Earth from extraterrestrial microbes or even stranger life variants, in theory. Still, all these setups fall short of preparing for the detection of functioning extraterrestrial devices maneuvering inside our solar system. The level of teamwork needed would eclipse prior endeavors in scholarly pursuits by far. Issues of oversight would surface right away. What global entity holds sway over encounter guidelines? In what manner do you align reactions from countries that might see the event as a chance or a danger? What unfolds when the drive for knowledge clashes with defense priorities? The governmental layers involved would overwhelm. Proof of extraterrestrial devices would right away turn into a security issue for all leading nations on the planet. Armed forces, which now treat the cosmos mainly as a zone for monitoring and messaging, would abruptly face the fact of otherworldly smarts boasting possibly advanced tools. The equilibrium of candor versus secrecy, which has leaned toward disclosure in space studies, could swing sharply to secrecy and limited entry. The engineering hurdles in addressing a verified extraterrestrial arrival would strain all facets of our orbital prowess. Present-day probes require years to arrive at the distant reaches where 30th Atlas now resides and decades to hit speeds beyond our system. Should the item truly be constructed and prompt dialogue be sought, our sole feasible choice could involve broadcasting via radio. Granting that the extraterrestrial setup employs signaling methods we might identify or unravel, the lack of any viable way to capture signals underscores our present shortcomings in orbital tech. After years of notable successes in machine-based scouting, we stay bound to our close stellar vicinity, with travel durations counted in years instead of months. Substantial engagement with swift cosmic drifters would demand skills we lack today and could not assemble fast enough to challenges in handling interstellar objects, such as 3I Atlas would intensify dramatically for public outreach efforts. Announcing the detection of extraterrestrial intelligence raises the dilemma of avoiding widespread alarm or societal upheaval. Space organizations' deliberate and restrained approach to 3I Atlas disclosures, which highlights scholarly curiosity and downplays hype, must adapt swiftly to confront bolder assertions without eroding reliability or societal confidence. Insights gained from past mistaken alerts would prove essential. The WOW signal, picked up by SETI experts in 1977, sparked massive early buzz, yet turned out as an isolated occurrence, lacking verification or replication. Lately, Oumuam's peculiar traits prompted short-lived theories of engineered origins until standard accounts took hold. Such episodes have instilled in researchers and outreach specialists the value of separating captivating findings from firm judgments. Overseeing media coverage emerges as a vital element in reacting to verified extraterrestrial artifacts. The non-stop demand of round-the-clock reporting for thrilling updates risks burying meticulous expert review under guesses and false narratives. Online networks would grapple intensely with sorting authentic information from trusted outlets amid the surge of wild plots, fabrications, and distortions tied to so profound a revelation. Just the financial repercussions demand thorough contingency measures. Stock exchanges could see wild swings as traders grapple with valuing the fallout from proven alien tech. Sectors as a whole might confront survival dilemmas should extraterrestrial knowledge deliver game-changing options for power sources, mobility systems, or production methods. Worldwide financial steadiness could hinge on how adeptly organizations navigate the shift from rumor to established truth. Schools and colleges would encounter urgent demands to overhaul teaching agendas, study focuses, and core beliefs regarding our species' cosmic role. Profound conceptual effects would spread across fields ranging from celestial studies and quantum mechanics to cultural analysis, religious thought, and governance theory. Long-established academic centers, honed over ages on earthbound events, would abruptly integrate alien minds into their worldview. The pressing deadlines from 3I Atlas's swift path heighten the stakes in any imagined reaction plan. In contrast to the slow unfolding of typical sky events, cosmic travelers show up and vanish according to natural laws, not our schedules. Effective countermeasures must arise and take effect in mere months, not years, squeezing routine deliberation into periods that test organizational limits. Still, the real handling of 3I Atlas has shown impressive agility under such pressures. Worldwide stargazers spotted the entity, verified its origin from beyond our system, arranged observations across light spectra, and launched in-depth scrutiny mere weeks after first spotting it. This history indicates that current setups and protocols, despite flaws, offer a sturdy base for tackling even the most novel revelations. The conceptual model for dealing with verified extraterrestrial encounters has advanced over many years via efforts by SETI specialists, life and space experts, and global law thinkers. Though these setups can't cover all surprises of true interaction, they supply initial guides for the swift choices required in such remarkable circumstances. Perhaps above all, reactions to 3I Atlas have prioritized inquisitiveness rather than alarm, empirical inquiry instead of conjecture, and global partnership in place of rivalrous concealment, the principles reflected through forthright dissemination of sighting records and the joint essence of the inquiry process embody humankind's optimal strategy for tackling interstellar enigmas, no matter their final resolution. Actual events show that our society holds the engineering prowess and organizational structures required to examine novel occurrences with efficiency. If such resources would suffice for genuine initial encounters with extraterrestrials stays uncertain, yet the unified expert handling of 3 Atlas offers grounds for hope regarding our kind's capacity to manage far more astonishing interstellar events. While shifting from musings on extraterrestrial interactions to firmer talks on universal viewpoints and research techniques, the handling of 3I Atlas stands as an example of contemporary society's way of confronting the unfamiliar. The blend of engineering skill, organizational synergy, and probing interest that defined the 3 Atlas probe forms a model for interacting with enigmas potentially more profound in reshaping our sense of position amid the cosmos. Part 12. Containment or Curiosity. The issue of weighing exploratory zeal against imagined perils mirrors a core conflict in mankind's ventures. That identical conflict propelled crossings of vast seas, a sense of towering peaks, and forays beyond our atmosphere, heedless of the perils involved in those pursuits. Regarding 3 Atlas, this equilibrium has swung firmly in favor of inquisitiveness, with solid justification. The item's path and attributes rule out nearly all imaginable isolation possibilities, even as they amplify chances for scholarly breakthroughs. Existing guidelines on safeguarding planets, honed over years of ventures into the void, supply structures for pondering pollution hazards bidirectionally, shielding our planet from foreign microbes alongside shielding distant realms from earthly organisms. Yet those guidelines were crafted chiefly for missions returning samples directly and for near-miss vessel meetings, rather than for entities traversing our star system at secure ranges without evident traces of life processes. The core design of planetary safeguarding hinges on evaluating dangers and replying in measured fashion. As NASA's Perseverance vehicle gathered specimens from the Red Planet, meticulous safeguards were outlined for their future homecoming to guarantee no supposed Martian lifeforms could infiltrate our world's ecosystem. In like manner, vessels aimed at moons with potential for habitability, such as Europa, face rigorous cleansing routines to block outward pollution of extraterrestrial settings. 3IE. Atlas introduces an entirely distinct situation. Its closest passage at 1/8 astronomical units, about 270 million kilometers, rules out any chance of substance transfer with our planet. No vessel pursuit is scheduled or practicable under present engineering limits and the item's blistering speed. The isolation dilemma turns mostly theoretical once the entity under scrutiny stays too remote for any enclosure. Such secure separation has fostered an exceptionally candid method for exchanging records and joint scholarly work. Imagery from the Hubble Space Telescope, spectral readings from James Webb, and earthbound sightings have entered routine celestial repositories, permitting scholars across the globe to scrutinize shared record collections and confirm mutual findings. Such openness exemplifies peak scientific practice, numerous separate examiners scrutinizing the very same proofs, and scientists have steadily arrived at firm judgments regarding the innate genesis of this celestial body. Special acclaim goes to the culture of open repositories fostered by prominent orbital observatories. The Minkowski Archive for Space Telescopes grants access to Hubble and Webb data for every scholar connected online, revolutionizing the field of astronomy in manners unthinkable merely years back. Meanwhile, the European Southern Observatory upholds comparable repositories for terrestrial-based viewings, as hobbyist stargazers add their photographs and luminosity profiles via diverse public participation initiatives. Such candor stands in stark opposition to the veiled approaches typical of defense or espionage reactions to possible extraterrestrial outreach. The research world's innate preference for openness stems from both pragmatic needs and deep-seated beliefs in the boundless essence of scholarly insight. The process of expert scrutiny demands the exchange of findings, alongside a dedication to the all-encompassing quality of scientific wisdom. The 3-Atlas probe exemplifies the application of these tenets, even amid explorations of events that could theoretically mark humanity's initial brush with interstellar minds. The data environment encircling 3-Atlas further highlights the advantages and pitfalls of immediate worldwide connectivity. Valid research outcomes spread swiftly across expert circles, fostering almost instantaneous teamwork among experts across oceans. Yet those very pathways that facilitate fruitful scholarly dialogue also transport falsehoods, guesses, and exaggerated distortions capable of skewing societal perceptions. The ways in which false narratives swirl around stellar finds have grown ever more intricate and widespread. Online platform mechanics favoring interaction above truthfulness often boost outlandish assertions and wild conjectures, sidelining balanced expert evaluations. Differentiating genuine research ambiguity, the sort that fuels meaningful inquiry, from baseless guesses has emerged as vital for sustaining logical societal conversations on extraterrestrial revelations. The 3-Atlas scenario offers a prime instance of these data flows in action. Established research outlets have reliably spotlighted the body's peculiar traits alongside its earthly roots, recognizing ambiguities without indulging in groundless theories. Outlets of lesser standing have at times inflated early discoveries, merged hunches with proven truths, or pushed notions of official concealments hiding interstellar encounters. Imagery conveyance holds a key part in these data flows. Hubble and Webb visuals of 3-Atlas, refined and amplified to uncover factual nuances, might strike everyday viewers as thrilling and unearthly. The difficulty resides in framing such visuals to underscore their factual weight over hype, illustrating how spotted traits align with cometry patterns instead of implying advanced otherworldly devices. The debate over restraint against inquisitiveness shifts in scope when pondering not material restriction, but data restriction. Ought specific cosmic revelations face secrecy or limited release? Researchers broadly say no, contending that the gains from shared efforts surpass imagined dangers posed by openly accessible stellar information. This stance draws from both functional and conceptual angles. On the functional side, the study of the stars thrives best as an international endeavor, with experts exchanging info, cross-checking outcomes, and advancing shared understanding. Conceptually, perspectives from orbit have long bridged divides among people, underscoring our shared stellar lineage over earthly disputes. The example established by past instances of intriguing yet peculiar celestial findings reinforce the value of maintaining an open-minded stance in astronomy. In the 1960s, pulsars were initially labeled LGM, standing for Little Green Men, yet they turned out to signify groundbreaking physical principles instead of extraterrestrial minds. The WOW signal, picked up by SETI experts, continues to puzzle scientists, but has undergone extensive public scrutiny and detailed examination. Likewise, the odd traits of Oumuamua underwent investigation via open global partnerships, steering clear of secretive governmental initiatives. Public involvement in monitoring 3-Atlas highlights yet another facet of prioritizing inquiry above secrecy. Hobbyists using basic gear have recorded visuals and brightness variations that enhance expert data, enriching the collection of details destined to shape our grasp of the cosmos. Such broad access to stellar studies could never thrive in regimes stressing isolation, yet it has undeniably boosted real progress in knowledge. The Ferrex probe's perspective function in charting 3-Atlas's vast carbon dioxide tail shows how upcoming observational efforts will broaden our capacity to examine these wanderers from afar. Broad-spectrum infrared projects such as SphereX pair well with the precise spectral analysis from Webb, yielding full profiles of cosmic drifters that individual tools alone couldn't achieve. Ahead, the Vera Rubin Observatory's enduring scan of the universe and chronology vows to transform insights into spacefarers by spotting hundreds during its intended span. Such a quantitative method could validate that items resembling 3 Atlas arise as ordinary events adhering to expected patterns or uncover oddities calling for bolder interpretations. The framework for probing these upcoming finds draws from the 3 Atlas encounter. Swift teamwork among facilities, clear mechanisms for exchanging data, and a focus on worldwide teamwork offer a blueprint for managing even stranger events. If truly bizarre entities surface in time, experts seem ready to probe them via the identical candid joint strategies that define the 3 Atlas probe. The mix of doubt and receptivity seen in expert reactions to 3 Atlas offers yet more guidance for what lies ahead. Sound doubt in science insists on robust proof for bold assertions, while also insisting on embracing ideas beyond present paradigms. The 3 Atlas probe has illustrated striking that equilibrium, recognizing quirky features without indulging in baseless guesses. Evaluating hazards for coming space intruders gains from the 3I Atlas example. Its harmless trip across the Sun's domain, adherence to standard icy body dynamics, and lack of peculiar indicators set standard benchmarks for like finds. Incoming bodies straying far from this norm may call for altered tactics, though the starting point will probably stick to probing everyday causes fully prior to eyeing wilder options. The teaching worth of the 3 Atlas probe goes further than its direct outcomes, illustrating how today's stargazing functions as a joint, candid, proof-driven field. The effort reveals how groups align reactions to novel events, how circulating info speeds breakthroughs, and how expert doubt shields from hasty judgments alongside knee-jerk rejection of the strange. As we move to larger cosmic inquiries, in examining our viewpoint on the cosmos and humanity's role within it, the inquiry into 3 Atlas stands as an illustrative example of the ways in which people confront mysteries beyond our grasp. Prioritizing wonder instead of dread, teamwork rather than rivalry, and facts above guesswork offers grounds for hope regarding our capacity to manage deeper revelations from space that could emerge in coming years and eras. Part 13. Scale of the Cosmos and Our Signals. The path leading 3I Atlas to the threshold of our solar system covers expanses and durations that stretch the limits of mortal understanding. Nevertheless, comprehending such magnitudes proves essential for appreciating the importance of this visitor alongside our position amid the grand drama of stellar development across the galaxy. Discussing origins in the thick disk of the galaxy calls up a narrative that started back when the cosmos had barely reached half its present span, when groups of stars varied sharply from modern examples, and when the Milky Way remained a fledgling, disordered cradle for celestial births. This thick disk embodies a senior cohort of stars born amid the galaxy's initial stormy phase, approximately 10 to 12 billion years in the past. In contrast to the thin disk, home to our Sun in a fairly structured zone, where stars trace nearly round paths around the core, the thick disk holds stars on more irregular slanted trajectories that echo the harsh realities of their formative times. Should 3I Atlas truly hail from this venerable group, its core preserves traces of star-filled regions that predated the faintest hint of our solar system within a nebula. The vastness of this voyage takes on a lyrical quality as we try to picture it. 3 Atlas may well have roamed the Milky Way for billions of years, a span in which full cycles of stars have emerged, thrived, and faded away. Enormous stars present at the launch of this interstellar trek have exploded long ago in supernovae, dispersing dense metals into the void and sparking fresh waves of stellar creation. Worlds have coalesced, matured, and possibly nurtured biology innumerable times. Throughout the long drift of this timeless drifter across the interstellar void, the durations of travel eclipse any earthly notion of time. Assuming 3I Atlas has roamed for 5 billion years, a modest projection drawn from its likely thick disk roots, it has journeyed over 1,000 times beyond the tenure of advanced organisms on our world. Over that interval, Earth has witnessed the burst of life in the Cambrian, 5 great waves of extinction, the ascent and demise of dinosaurs, and the dawn of human societies. From the vantage of this spacefarer, though, the entirety of our chronicle amounts to just the last fleeting instant in its epic, multi-billion-year passage. The spans covered, prove no less immense. Despite 3 Atlas's staggering pace exceeding 130,000 pi, navigating major swaths of the galaxy demands millions of years. This entity might have brushed past hundreds or thousands of star systems in its meanderings, drawing near enough to certain ones for their gravity to tug at it, maybe even observing the genesis of worlds orbiting stars that today loom as aged behemoths approaching their conclusions. Such brushes unfolded quietly and unseen, deep in the emptiness remote from any recorder. Every gravitational nudge would have tweaked the path subtly, boosting or draining momentum in a vast interstellar version of billiards spanning cosmic realms. The buildup from millions of these brushes might explain 3I Atlas's present blistering pace, with each stellar skim delivering a minor jolt that gradually propelled this relic drifter to its furious velocity. The chemical diversity. The significance attributed to that 3 Atlas takes on fresh importance when considered within this cosmic panorama. Its makeup, abundant in carbon dioxide, could indicate origins near a star vastly unlike our own Sun, amid stellar settings dominated by alternate fusion reactions in nuclei, configurations of planetary setups, or varying makeup in the space between stars. This entity acts as a specimen of extraterrestrial makeup, bearing traces of molecules from star clusters we might never approach firsthand. Such probing into chemical history broadens our grasp of how the galaxy has developed, surpassing what standard stargazing can achieve. Although we examine far-off suns via their glow and deduce traits using spectral analysis, wanderers between stars such as 3 Atlas deliver tangible bits of stuff that coalesced near those remote luminaries eons in the past. Imagine fragments from otherworldly realms arriving right at our threshold, equipped with ratios of isotopes, setups of minerals, and stocks of fleeting elements that disclose the circumstances of their genesis. Humanity's own broadcast sphere, an outward-growing dome of radio waves proclaiming our existence across the universe, offers a sobering view of these immense cosmic proportions. From Marone's initial radio broadcasts toward the close of the 1800s, our signals have spread at light's pace, now touching suns about 120 light-years from our planet. This achievement feels notable right up to the point where we grasp that the Milky Way stretches some 100,000 light-year wide, rendering our signal zone a mere speck amid the enormous stellar sea. Within this broadcast sphere lie maybe several thousand star groups from the galaxy's projected 400 billion suns. Even our strongest radio dispatches, crafted for bridging gaps between planets in our home system, would register as barely audible murmurs to receivers orbiting close suns. Noting the evident antiquity of the object alongside the trivial slice of the galaxy, our signal's cover renders unlikely any notion that 3I Atlas was drawn here by our radiated mark. That profound quiet we meet while scanning for broadcasts from alien societies, the vast hush at the heart of the Fermi paradox, seems far less puzzling amid such expansive dimensions. Should the galaxy harbor thousands of societies beaming radio waves, the sheer spans between them would render their emissions remarkably dim and elusive to pick up. The principle of inverse squares, ruling wave propagation in electromagnetism, dictates that twice the separation from a signal origin cuts its visible intensity to a quarter, turning exchanges across stars into a daunting feat of engineering, regardless of advancements well ahead of today's tools. The power demands for such cosmic dialogues eclipse every feat of earthly engineering. To send a clear pulse, readable over common star-spanning gaps, would call for wattage rivaling that of dwarf suns. Narrow beams, honed like lighthouse rays at chosen destinations, would still necessitate energy production on a scale we can't yet touch. Such barriers in physics might account for why hunts by SETI have turned up no solid signs of crafted emissions after years of monitoring endless bands of wavelengths from countless angles. Identical power factors bear on journeys between stars, lending insight into judging the feasibility of the possibilities we've delved into across this probe. Propelling just a modest scout to speeds fit for swift hops between suns would exact energy matching the yearly electrical yield of leading factory powers. Bigger vessels would exact proportionately greater power outlays, possibly surpassing all the power output from today's human society in total. The way 3I Atlas has naturally reached such immense speeds via gravity's pull demonstrates the galaxy acting like a booster for items willing to gather momentum over countless star passes. Such an organic process offers a reasonable account for its astonishing pace, bypassing the need for unusual drive methods or man-made speed-up devices. Considering interstellar finders in the context of galactic vastness sharpens their number-based consequences. Should the birth of planetary setups regularly hurl out large amounts of stone and frozen scraps per model runs on computers, our galaxy ought to harbor trillions of roaming bodies akin to 3E Atlas. The pace of spotting a handful of such space travelers annually, as expected from the Rubin Observatory, amounts to merely the smallest glimpse into this enormous group, hampered by spotting limits, tech barriers, and survey scopes. From this numbers viewpoint, the variety in makeup and traits seen in our limited set of verified interstellar drifters likely captures just a sliver of the full spectrum of builds and features among the galaxy's roving masses. Looking ahead, deeper scans could uncover drifters boasting traits far stranger than those of 3 Atlas, broadening our grasp of the settings and mechanisms at work near far-off suns. Timeframes in the galaxy's growth offer yet another lens for grasping 3I Atlas's importance. Across billions of years, the makeup of elements in the galaxy has gradually built up as wave after wave of stars melded simple atoms into denser variants and spread them via blasts from dying giants. Bodies born in the initial phases of that buildup, such as 3 Atlas, assuming our timeline guesses hold true, would mirror the elemental setup of a fresher, poorer-in-metals galaxy, starkly unlike the star surroundings we see now. This time-based aspect layers extra intricacy onto decoding the elemental marks we spot in old interstellar drifters. The lead role of carbon dioxide setting 3I Atlas apart from today's comets could well have been standard for bodies shaping up near first-wave stars whose builds and heat traits differed from the Sun's. Probing those long-ago birth settings might yield clues about the dawn of the galaxy's element shifts, clues we couldn't get any other way. Nearing the wrap-up of our probe into 3A Atlas and what it means, these vast cosmic measures highlight the amazing quality of this find alongside the bounds of our present outlook. We're probing a body that has seen the galaxy's changes unfold over eons like rock layers, bearing elemental traces from star zones beyond our experience, and forging a tangible tie to happenings from billions of years prior to Earth's rise. Still, despite its grand place in the cosmos, 3I Atlas stays basically graspable through our existing science lens. Its actions align with physics rules, its elements echo everyday happenings, and its path follows the gravity rules steering all cosmic items. Pairing odd birthplace with routine actions shows the range alongside the core sameness in nature's workings galaxy-wide. Viewing through this mix of immense scale and basic rules lays the base for our closing thoughts on 3I Atlas's role in human insight and our enduring bond with the universe that spawned us. Part 14. Hope in Silence and Data. Perhaps the most profound, the true boon bestowed by 3 Atlas upon humankind resides not in fanciful theories regarding its genesis or intent, but in the straightforward reality of its benign transit across our stellar vicinity. Amid times when worldwide dilemmas appear insurmountable and prospects for tomorrow remain hazy, a celestial wanderer that materializes right on schedule, adheres strictly to the dictates of physical principles, and slips away unscathed into the vastness of space without altering even one earthly twilight, offers profound solace. Such comfort carries real weight. It embodies the success of empirical insight prevailing against interstellar dread. The ascendancy of meticulous scrutiny over baseless conjecture. Upon the initial spotting of 3 Atlas hurtling into our solar realm at extraordinary speed, apprehension toward the unfamiliar could have gripped us. Yet, mere weeks after its identification, worldwide groups of stargazers had mapped its precise path, dissected its elemental makeup, and assuredly forecasted its innocuous flyby. This exemplifies pinnacle human intellect and teamwork. The bounty of insights gleaned from 3 Atlas has already surpassed the total yields from numerous celestial finds across their full study spans. Its atypical abundance of carbon dioxide has upended preconceptions about standard comet makeup, compelling experts to craft fresh frameworks for variations in volatile proportions among formations in diverse star systems. This goes beyond scholarly pursuit. It enriches our grasp of world-building mechanisms active across the cosmos. Spectral traces uncovered by the James Webb Space Telescope furnish concrete proof of the molecular transformations happening near distant suns. The elevated CO2 to water ratio noted in 3 atlases, COMA, points to origins close to carbon dioxide frost boundaries in nascent planetary disks, or perhaps prolonged surface alteration by radiation across eons. Both explanations broaden our view of the varied settings and dynamics sculpting frozen entities outside our own system. These molecular revelations reach well past comet studies. Grasping shifts in volatile stocks among items from varied stellar origins aid stargazers in honing simulations of world creation and development relevant to hunting life-friendly zones orbiting alien stars. Should carbon dioxide dominant settings have prevailed in key phases of cosmic history, it could shape our predictions for locations and eras ripe for biology akin to ours. The organizational handling of 3 Atlas showcases the striking prowess of today's astronomical synergy when facing novel occurrences. The Atlas survey first picked up the entity. The Minor Planet Center orchestrated worldwide monitoring initiatives. The Hubble and Webb Space Telescopes delivered in-depth subsequent imaging, while Earthbound facilities supplied supporting records, all achieved in a span unthinkable generations back. This synergy transcends technical feats, embodying a doctrinal dedication to collective wisdom and joint inquiry. Opting to release sighting records freely via routine celestial repositories underscores the research world's belief that stellar revelations are humanity's common heritage, not the property of solitary groups or countries. This candor gains extra import when probing entities that could, theoretically, mark our initial brushes with extrasolar oddities. The forthrightness defining the 3 Atlas probe sets a model for managing potentially wilder revelations ahead. If stargazers someday identify truly bizarre entities, that such inquiries push the boundaries of our grasp on cosmic mechanisms. Sharing data openly and fostering joint examinations provide the optimal strategy for separating mere sighting mistakes, tool-induced illusions, and authentic enigmas from the stars. Involvement from the wider public around 3 Atlas has highlighted the potentials alongside the hurdles in explaining intricate astronomical ideas to everyday viewers amid today's information landscape. Reputable research bodies have mostly managed to transmit details on the item's odd traits and its earthly beginnings, recognizing ambiguities without indulging in baseless guesses. Reporting on it has informed vast numbers regarding wanderers between stars, the layout of our galaxy, the realm of icy wanderers, and the techniques experts employ to probe distant events. However, those very pathways for spreading solid learning also spread false info and wild plots that warp how folks perceive breakthroughs from space. Keeping sensible conversations on sky events tougher grows with online platforms favoring clicks above truth, often boosting sensational stories over calm expert breakdowns. Examining the 3 Atlas instance shows ways formal science groups tackle these outreach issues via steady announcements, sharp lines between proven truths and wild ideas, and steady fixes for confusions. This method acts as a blueprint for managing later finds that could demand even tougher explanation efforts. Real-time follow sites, media briefings, and learning resources turned 3i Atlas into among the most open to all sky events in late times. Hobby stargazers added their sightings. School efforts dissected open datasets, while crowdsourced efforts drew in multitudes to track the item's glow and actions. Spreading sky studies like this marks a top hopeful shift in today's research world. The guesses circling 3i Atlas, encompassing the cases we delved into across this probe, hold real roles past just fun. Pondering odd options pushes experts to ponder deeper on splitting organic from man-made signs up there, spurs creation of watch methods to debunk standard views, and nudges us that space might yet surprise in ways that upend what we know. Yet, the real worth of those guesses ties to proof, not their thrill. The cases we delved into gain merit by sparking checkable forecasts or spotting holes in existing info. They turn risky if taken as solid truths or wielded to stir baseless fears of space dangers. The precise split we upheld between guesses and real inquiry in this probe mirrors wide rules on how insight grows and groups handle unknowns. Inquiry moves forward via the dance of bold ideas and strict checks, of inventive wonders and controlled proof weighing. 3i Atlas offers a prime example of this dynamic at work with truly novel sky happenings. The path of insight in the 3 Atlas probe, from first spot to in-depth review to firm verdicts on its organic roots, shows the gradual build of expert insight. First sightings sparked doubts on the item's quirky features. Later, checks sharpened our view of its makeup. Over time, a sufficient body of data gathered to allow firm judgments regarding the essence of this ancient entity, marked by its unique chemical profile, yet essentially a typical comet. The shift from doubt to clarity exemplifies the pinnacle of scientific endeavor, illustrating the power of steady scrutiny and meticulous examination in unraveling seemingly enigmatic events. Such methodical advancement fosters hope in our capacity to decipher increasingly bizarre celestial finds as detection tools advance further. Prospects for upcoming revelations grow prominent when reflecting on the position of 3i Atlas within the growing inventory of extrasolar wanderers. The Vera Rubin Observatory's enduring scan of the cosmos and chronology stands to identify hundreds of comparable intruders in the coming 10 years, elevating these interstellar arrivals from sporadic oddities to standard features of skywatching. This surge in data volume will facilitate examinations of their demographic traits, compositional variety, and orbital behaviors that remain out of reach given today's limited collection. Every fresh find will contribute elements to the enigma of stellar development, world building, and the spread of substances across the void between stars. The distinctive molecular markers setting 3i Atlas apart could turn out to reflect widespread origins near particular stellar classes, or they might stand as truly exceptional instances of rare transformations happening solely in precise settings. The instruments that drove the 3 Atlas probe precise broad-area scans, swift confirmatory checks, orbital spectral analysis, and worldwide teamwork systems keep advancing at impressive speeds. Incoming extrasolar travelers will get spotted sooner, profiled in greater detail, and grasped faster than those we track now. This steady enhancement in tools instills confidence that truly oddball items could still be spotted and probed thoroughly. The wider framework of stellar probing, embodied by 3 Atlas, stretches well past the details of this single specimen. Every such wanderer broadens our hands-on access to stellar substances and dynamics, bolstering the second-hand insights derived from starlight dissection and conceptual simulations. These arrivals act as envoys from the stars, bearing details on stellar realms beyond our reach. The deeper musings sparked by probing these items merit attention equal to their empirical worth. 3 Atlas links us directly to the galaxy's ancient past, to happenings predating our own system's birth, to reactive milieus that forged the stuff now hurtling by our stellar threshold. Such ties offer insight into our role within universal progression and the unbroken thread of natural laws over immense expanses of distance and duration. With our probe of 3 Atlas and its ramifications drawing to a close, the central motif that arises is triumphant inquiry driven by proof, sparked by creativity, yet firmly rooted in precise watching and strict evaluation. This visitor has tested our preconceptions, broadened our insights, and supplied an exemplar of contemporary stargazing's approach to the unfamiliar. The direst outlook that spurred our effort, the threat of stellar disaster or extraterrestrial incursion, has dissolved into nothing, supplanted by a quieter yet comparably weighty tale of primordial reactions, cosmic growth, and the extraordinary prowess of human curiosity. By swapping dread for insight, 3 Atlas delivers what might be the greatest boon from any stellar guest: proof that diligent watching and joint effort can light up the profoundest riddles of the heavens. Part 15. Good night, Cosmic, as the interstellar Wanderer 3 Atlas presses onward from our solar system, dimming gradually amid the starry void it once emerged from. We hold onto snapshots that outlast the visitors vanishing from even our mightiest optical instruments. Captured by the Hubble Space Telescope, these stunning depictions reveal a hazy, star-resembling speck encircled by the delicate shroud of its carbon dioxide haze, like a ethereal holiday bauble adrift in the boundless void. Through the Webb's heat-sensing gaze, we discern the coma's molecular imprints with sharp clarity, each absorption feature speaking volumes in the primordial lexicon this outsider bears from its distant stellar cradle. Trajectory sketches narrate a tale of heavenly ballet, with fluid bends tracing 3I Atlas's route across our cosmic neighborhood, slipping by Mars's path, swinging closest to the Sun, then veering toward the outer Giants domain, en route to the galaxy's expanse. Unlike the turbulent twists of earthly politics or markets, these lines embody the tranquil exactitude of orbital dynamics, as unerring as dawn's arrival and as steadfast as yearly cycles. This foreseeability, this unwavering stellar order untouched by mortal whims or meddling, stirs a profound sense of fulfillment. Amid our planet's swirl of doubt and flux, 3 Atlas adheres to principles dictating cosmic motion from the universe's dawn, its exit timed not by any earthly decree, but by the bedrock powers molding existence. In eras rife with contrived worries and false haste, such astral steadiness delivers a deep reassurance, our probe's core inquiry. What constitutes the direst outcome yields an outcome strikingly ordinary. Forget cinematic doomsdays or extraterrestrial assaults on society. No stellar upheaval will shift our world's path or weather patterns. The gravest hazard in raw physical terms amounts to absolute zilch. 3 Atlas will exit our star's domain just as it entered, quiet, secure, and aligned with the spot-on forecasts of calculative science. Yet labeling this result as commonplace overlooks its deeper weight. Consider that we forecast the actions of a relic, potentially voyaging eons, born near an unseen sun, laden with traces from uncharted realms. Such foresight stands as a pinnacle achievement of inquiry. Physical principles hold so uniformly that events spanning vast gulfs of distance and epochs obey identical edicts. The peculiarities 3 Atlas unveils remain captivating, even rooted in commonplace genesis. Its abundance of carbon dioxide upends notions of standard icy body makeup, broadening our grasp of substance variety birthed near varied suns. Hints of its birth in a dense galactic layer point to stellar nurseries far removed from our vicinity, yielding a pristine specimen of primordial stellar brew for close scrutiny. These odd traits already reshape views in astronomy on world-building, comet life cycles, and the range of spacefarer chemistries. Studies on 3 Atlas will echo in citations for generations, as scholars weave its insights into grander models of frozen relic origins and changes across the Milky Way. Its lessons ripple outward, shedding light on mechanisms at work near myriad remote luminaries. The hypotheticals we've delved into during this inquiry. Tales of otherworldly craft, lost societies, or bizarre forces have fulfilled their role in sharpening our speculation fuels, our curiosity, by spotlighting the intriguing queries sparked by true enigmas from the cosmos. Yet solid proof repeatedly favors everyday rationales, impressive as they are, fitting snugly into the framework of physics we grasp today. Such a resolution need not leave us unsatisfied. The cosmos reveals itself as bizarre and awe-inspiring solely via ordinary mechanisms. Consider the quirks of quantum theory, the enigmas of singularities, or the hastening stretch of the universe itself. Introducing sentient machines or advanced contraptions into this profoundly marvelous setup could turn out redundant for fostering the awe and broad outlook that propel research efforts. The soundtrack fitting a goodbye to 3 Atlas ought to steer clear of foreboding or victorious vibes, opting instead for meditative strains that blend the enigma with the graspable essence of stellar events. Think of Holst's The Planets, or Barber's Adagio for strings pieces that summon the immensity of the void, yet echo our inner sentiments. Its mood must encourage pondering over thrill, marvel over dread. In probing this topic, we have strived to draw a firm line separating proven knowledge from fanciful theorizing. Points where facts gave way to guesses were clearly flagged, helping audiences separate solid truths from mere fancies. This forthrightness stems from more than mere scholarly integrity. It serves as essential strategy amid times when false claims outpace efforts to verify them. What our probe ultimately conveys goes beyond collision risks or conquest plots, touching instead on the quieter peril of unease from the stars, the apprehension triggered by happenings beyond our ready comprehension. 30. Atlas shows how such apprehensions dissolve via steady watching, meticulous scrutiny, and global teamwork from experts dedicated to fact-driven insight. Closing slates for our film could guide eager audiences toward the abundance of open-access details enabling this probe. NASA's dedicated sections on 3 Atlas deliver reliable overviews of sighting outcomes. The Space Telescope Science Institute's repositories hold the real Hubble and Webb visuals, plus spectral data shaping our grasp of the science. Scholarly publications and mainstream stargazing periodicals supply in-depth expert breakdowns paired with approachable breakdowns for everyday readers. These assets go beyond simple references. They capture the communal ethos defining the 3 Atlas study since its start. Choosing to release sighting records openly via routine cosmic vaults signals a deep-seated pledge to collective wisdom unbound by borders or group ties. This candor instills optimism for managing bolder stellar finds in times to come. Prospects of incoming star-crossers infuse eagerness into our parting from 3 Atlas. The Rubin Observatory stands to spot scores of akin bodies in the next 10 years, everyone yielding unique insights into stellar makeup, world-building, and the throng of nomads roaming between stars. Certain ones could emerge even more oddly composed than 3 Atlas. Some may exhibit traits that upend our views in fresh manners. Every find will bolster the expanding catalog of star traveler traits, permitting number-crunching probes unattainable with today's limited collection. The crowd profiles, elemental variety, and motion patterns uncovered by these upcoming scans will shape models of stellar growth and world creation, reaching well beyond current bounds. Extending past the confines of our immediate star system, the acknowledgments honoring the telescope's repositories and dedicated scientists behind the 3I Atlas exploration go further than simple recognition. Such listings highlight how groundbreaking advancements in science arise from interconnected teams instead of solitary brilliance, bolstered by organizational backing over personal drive by itself. The synergy among Earthbound observations, orbital observatories, and information repositories that allowed swift analysis of this extragalactic intruder exemplifies contemporary stargazing in peak form. While 3 Atlas recedes toward the vast emptiness, propelled by the velocity gained over its eons-long trek across the void between suns, it bequeaths far more than raw findings and scholarly articles. It offers an exemplar of humanity's method for confronting the enigmatic, with tools over arms, wonder over dread, partnership over rivalry. Such decisions embody our noblest visions for interacting with the enigmas of the heavens, enigmas potentially deeper than this timeless drifter hailing from the gaps amid constellations. The quietude succeeding 3I Atlas's exit holds not void, but anticipation, poised for the forthcoming stellar envoy bound to appear, bearing unique molecular traces from remote astral domains, fresh puzzles for our comprehension, and fresh chances to broaden our grasp of the cosmos that spawned us. Within that pause, in that persistent gaze toward the heavens, resides maybe the brightest facet of our bond with the infinite, the belief that endless marvels await unveiling, endless inquiries demand pursuit, and endless motives urge us to scan the night sky with intrigue over apprehension, the soft dissolution into darkness that could cap our observational odyssey trails, 3 Atlas as it merges with the celestial tapestry. Ceasing to stand out as a separate entity, it reintegrates into the universal scenery whence it momentarily detached. Its transit across our planetary domain spans merely several months within an odyssey, enduring epochs of earth-shaping time, destined to persist through epochs yet to come. We enjoyed the rare fortune to observe this fleeting stellar instant, to examine this venerable Voyager, and to weave its tale into the expanding anthology of marvels populating the void's linking suns. Rest well, stellar herald, gratitude for the insights, the records, and the nudge that the cosmos endures as infinitely odder and more enchanting than our grounded fancies could conceive. Farewell on your ongoing voyage amid the Milky Way, bearing those molecular enigmas and primordial recollections still sealed in your core. Evidence of astral settings and genesis circumstances predating our globe's embrace of its sun's glow. Awaiting encounters with your kin from far-flung worlds, bygone eras, remote reaches of the stellar expanse encircling our modest yet extraordinary earthly abode.